Yo. Top of the morning to the gambling gang, man. Welcome in. It's November 13th, 2022. This is another episode of Cashed It with Chris, the NBA betting show slash podcast. And as always, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to discuss. Yesterday, we saw a lot of weird stuff happens as it typically does. The Washington Wizards covered again as dogs at home to excuse me, to beat the Utah Jazz, who I guess they left their defense in Utah, man, or left it in Atlanta because that was a terrible defensive performance. Defense just didn't show up in that one at all. Kind of weird to think that Utah couldn't stop a Wizards team that didn't have Bradley Beal. But shout out to Porzingis. I think he had a 30-point game yesterday. Kuzma played big, even though he was a little under the weather. The NBA is like it's a lot of parody going on last night. I tweeted it out yesterday that it's just a little janky right now, man. The things that are that you would typically think are going to happen have not happened. But we move on. So overall, yesterday I ended up going 1-2. I came on and talked about KD assist prop at 5.5, and KD absolutely goes assistless in the first half. No assists at all. You can credit the Clippers defense. It was a low scoring game, but his assist prop didn't catch. And then I did have the Jazz minus 3.5. So Ski said another one. He hasn't been to sleep yet. So yeah, so the Jazz looked, like I said, looked terrible, lost there. KD assist prop lost there. Shout out to the Pacers. They got it done last night. We saw, the tired legs theory come into play. 5 game and 7 nights for the Toronto Raptors, shorthanded without Siakam, without Fred VanVleet. And they absolutely they faded towards the end of that game. Even though Toronto did scare me early. They look good early. But shout out to the Nets, man, traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast and getting a win. Against the Clippers team that was on a nice little win streak as well. But they absolutely smacked them boys up, especially in the second half. The Clippers scored a total of 43 points, 44 points in the second half. And the Nets pulled away late in that game, especially in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Clippers by 11, winning and scoring 35 points in the fourth quarter, by far the highest scoring quarter in that game. And then you get him again today in the second game of a back-to-back against the Lakers. Shout out to Coach Vaughn, though, man. He got them guys. They look excited. They look happy, look vibrant. But yeah, we saw that happen yesterday, and I didn't want to pick a side in that one. Shout out to Ski because I know he talked about the under, and that under did cash yesterday. Then the Celtics go on the road. Depending on where you got that number, they either covered for you. I'm sorry, the Detroit either covered for you or barely didn't cover. Breaking news comes out all the time. Jaylen Brown was ruled out late, and they end up going to Detroit. Tatum went off yesterday. This Detroit team is terrible, especially without Cade. I know they can't wait to get Marvin Bagley back. And then I talked about and then the Sixers. The Sixers they smacked the Hawks up yesterday. Hawks didn't play any defense in that one. Let the Sixers score 121 points. The Heat did what they were supposed to do, I think, in the first game against the Hornets. We saw LaMelo come back, shoot 0 for 8 from 3. He looked pretty bad, even though, I guess that's what you kind of expect, him not to look the greatest in his first game back. The Mavericks ended up beating the Trailblazers by 5, and then the Pelicans got right late. It wasn't until late, though, that they got right. The Rockets are a feisty young team, man. They stuck around that game. Jalen Green. Shout out to Jose Alvarado. I made some money live betting last night. That's honestly that's what's kind of keeping me in it, man. Watching these games and kind of figuring out, the flow and why these teams that are favorites, get down by so many points. Then I end up live betting them. So that's actually kind of kept me in it, man. But let's get into today's slate. I think we got about 7 or 8 games today. I know it's quite a few games today. And Sunday is a day of the dogs, man. I think I had it pulled up on my other laptop. Sunday and Monday are actually the day of dogs. So one thing I actually wanted to show you guys this. So 2022 and team and dog and day equals Sunday. So let's see. And dog and day equals Sunday. So dogs are So look, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I want you guys to see what I see and looking at this screen right here. So this is so far this season how well dogs play on each specific day of the week. So you guys see on Tuesday, dogs aren't doing well. On Wednesday, dogs are, if you're looking at ATS, they're 54%. But if you go to Sunday, they're 55.6%. And this is a trend that I think carries over from last year. Dogs just typically cover on Sundays. It's really weird. But Monday, look at Monday. Monday is actually 22-8. Dogs are 73% rate. So if you thinking about taking a dog on a Monday, man, you might just have to go ahead and jump in and do that. I wanted to look at that earlier because I just feel like Sundays are really weird in the NBA, man, and it makes me want to live bet and not play bets before the games actually start. But neither here nor there. Let's get into the slate. It is a few games that I wanted to touch on, and I kind of just wanted to provide some insight on before I get up out of here. So let's see. Before I do that, let's see what y'all on in the chat, man. What up, Casey? Appreciate you being here as always. Let's see. Good morning, Tiffany. Morning. I'm getting killed on players getting into foul trouble. How do you combat that or cap that, Chris? So know something. I think you can if you're in a state where you can live bet, then you could take the live bet, right? So say like for some reason you were on Paul George points yesterday, and he comes out in the first quarter and he has 0 points against Brooklyn. You could live bet him if you think that defensively he's just not. If offensively he's not going to get into a rhythm. That's how I typically combat that. I also when I cap player props, I'm looking at fouls too, right? So I'm looking at who's the team playing against. Does this player typically get in foul trouble? I talked about that in one of my write-ups the other day that I posted when I took Clint Capella rebounds. The day I bet the Jazz, they do me wrong. Hey, Markel, I'm right there with you, bro. But the Jazz actually function better in a spot like today. I'm not on the Jazz, though, but the Jazz actually function as an away favorite. The Jazz were 0-1 this year, but that game actually came against Houston on the second night of a back-to-back, 3rd and 4, and a 4th and 5, I think, or 4th and 6. Don't quote me on that one. But the Jazz actually function better as a road dog. They were catching points against Atlanta. They were catching points. They've caught points pretty much everywhere. Then you put them in a position as a favorite, and then they wet the bed yesterday. So on the road again today, they playing the 76ers. And actually, that's the only note that I wanted to say about that game is that they function a lot better as a road dog. They're 6-1 ATS and 6-1 straight up. So I don't know if they bounce back or not, but yeah, I'm probably gonna stay away from that one. The get paid with the Bucks. Ski said he on them Buccaneers today. First half under, and they love the Lakers. Yuck, my mom loves Unibrow. My uncle loves the Clippers, though. All right, let's get into today, man. What up, Mitch? My guy, Mitch. What's going on, bro? Let's get into today's game. So first game up, I wanted to go to. Like I said, it ain't a lot of bets that I've put in already. If I'm being transparent with you guys, it's a lot of information I'm just here to share. So you're looking at this Thunder and this Knicks game, right? You saw the spread opened at 6 in favor of the Knicks. Money's come in on the Oklahoma City Thunder and the over. So the total opened at 225. It's up to 226 and a half at most places. You get this Thunder team. They're coming in off the overtime home win against the Toronto Raptors on Friday. 1 day rest. This will be their first road game of at least a 4-game road trip and their first game of a back-to-back. They play in Boston tomorrow. On the opposite side, you get this Knicks team. They come in off the home win against Detroit on Friday, smack Detroit up. We called that one right. I wasn't official on it. I didn't play it personally either, but we did get that one right. Even though they came out a little slow in that 1K, Cunningham didn't play. This will be their last road game. So it's only a 2-game homestand. This will be their last road game before they actually start a road trip of their own that starts out in Utah on Tuesday. So they got a little bit of time. The thing that's weird in this one, though, is it's a matinee spot, right? So this game actually starts in 2 hours and about 45 minutes. And we can't pull a lot of data from that, right? So you're literally guessing, it feels like, to me anyway, when you think about that, right? So the time of the game does matter. Last season, when you look at the Knicks are always the team that get these matinee spots, these games that start at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 12 o'clock Eastern time. So the Knicks actually were 1-4 straight up and against the spread last year when they had a start time at 1 o'clock or earlier, right? They were 3-1-1 to the over in those games as well, but the average total was sitting about 213. Of course, you get a much higher total in this one. And every one of their opponents that they played against last year in those 5 games, they actually were all playoff contending teams, right? I think it was like the Clippers, the Hornets who made it to the play-in game, the 76ers, of course. So a lot of these teams that they played against were actually playoff caliber teams. So I don't think that you could take the 1-4 into consideration, but I do think it's something to just not having a lot of data. The Thunder, on the other hand, haven't played a matinee spot like this since August 9th. When we talk about like time clocks, your body being on a time clock, this is only the first week since daylight saving time actually started. So really funky spot for me. I think the Knicks do function better as favorites than they do as I think the Knicks do function as dogs more than they do as favorites. And I'll probably be looking to the Thunder to be able to keep this one close, but I'm not touching this game. I just thought that was interesting that it was a start time that was a little earlier, and I wanted to kind of share that information. Moving along, let's get to this Grizzlies and Wizards game. And y'all got anything in that one? Tiffany said crazy because my ex is an OKC fan and I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm not talking. Yeah, OKC, they look good when they look good, man. Shout out to my boy Mitch. I know we were kind of going back and forth. SGA, his point prop 27.5. That's a good look, man. The Knicks are not stopping guards right now, so I do like that look a lot. Julius Randle could have a big game in this one as well, especially if he could get Pokashevsky and them boys in foul trouble. But one thing about OKC, they're going to play hard, man. They're going to play hard every single possession down the floor. So a game I'll probably be tuned in on for sure, especially because football don't start until 1 and we get this game at 12. But I don't really have a strong look. I feel like it's guessing, and I don't really want to guess in this situation. So moving right along, let's get to the Grizzlies and the Warriors. I'm sorry, Grizzlies and the Wizards right up the street, DC. This game actually opened as the Grizzlies being favorite, of course, because they should be. And then it quickly got flipped when we saw the news about Desmond Bane being doubtful, Ja Morant being doubtful. On the opposite side, Bill hasn't been completely ruled out yet, but he's unlikely to play in this game. Just doing some reconditioning. He's out of health and safety protocol. He has been for the last 2 days. Jared Jackson Jr. is also on his way back, but he's listed as doubtful in this game, so I do expect him to play. He'll probably suit up this week sometime. So Bill unlikely to play, Desmond Bane doubtful, Ja Morant doubtful, and Jared Jackson Jr. also listed as doubtful. The Wizards are the Grizzlies started as 1.5 point favorites. They flipped to -1.5 dogs now. So the Wizards are the favorite in this one. The total opened at 222.5. You see some money come in on the under, of course, with Ja Morant and Desmond Bane being listed as doubtful. It's down to 219.5. So we don't know, right? Like I said, Sunday's weird. We don't know for sure if these guys are going to end up playing, if they're not, and that makes the game difficult to cap. If you pay attention, I typically don't even cap these games where I don't talk about these games on the show where you get so many question marks. But one thing I'm looking at, I do think this is interesting to note, right? So if Ja and Desmond Bane don't play, because they're both listed as doubtful, if those guys don't play, the immediate person I'm thinking that's a beneficiary is Tyus Jones. You have to look at Tyus Jones, his props, right? Probably his whole PRA line, but if not, definitely his points prop and his assist prop. Because one thing that one thing that I'm taking into consideration is I want to fade the Wizards in some form or way with them being favorites, right? So I'm not looking to back the Wizards as favorites in this spot. I think that's when they probably going to take their foot off the gas. Porzingis played a lot of minutes yesterday. All these guys played a lot of minutes yesterday. Kuzma still a little bit under the weather as well. And I'm not saying that Memphis comes in here and wins, but I think that's possible. Excuse me. I do think that Tyus Jones steps up in a big way if both Ja Morant and Desmond Bane are out. This dude has the 4th highest usage rate on the team already, and the only person that's in front of him on the pecking order would be Dillon Brooks, who we know is kind of Dillon Brooks wishy-washy, kind of up and down. But I do think that this is a game that Memphis, I don't think they really care about this game too much. Moving along, let's keep going. Timberwolves and the Cav, another game that I'm not going to talk too much about just because of the injuries. Timberwolves need a win in the worst way. The Cavs are coming off that Western Conference road trip where they actually, what did they? They beat the Lakers, lost to the Clippers, lost to the Kings, and lost to the Warriors. So 1-3 on that road trip. First game back, 2 days rest. Well, 1 day's rest because they played on Friday, flew back yesterday, and now they got a game today. And the reason why I don't really want to talk too much about this one is because of the injuries. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but Dean Wade is listed as questionable. Jared Allen's listed as questionable, and Donovan Mitchell are all listed as questionable. If Donovan Mitchell doesn't play, Darius Garland, gotta look at Darius Garland, especially against the Timberwolves defense. They're ranked bottom third in the league, and I do think the Cavs will turn up when now that they're coming back home. So first game back home, maybe not so, which is why another reason why I don't typically want to back this Cavaliers team, but I do think that they respond well. But you don't want to take them in their first game back home, especially with all the injuries. So I just wanted to make sure I threw that in. 2 games so far as injury goes. Grizzlies and the Wizards. I'm highly looking at Tyus Jones if Ja Morant and Desmond Bane don't play, and the same thing with Darius Garland. If Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen doesn't play in this one as well, especially with Dean Wade being listed as questionable. Jazz and the Sixers, I already talked about that one. Sixers looked good yesterday. Smacked up Atlanta in the revenge game. And then the Jazz looked like they just didn't show up in DC from the get-go. I really don't want to talk about the Jazz, man. They function well in this spot, though, is what I'll tell you guys. They definitely function well in this spot. Moving along, I do want to get into this Nuggets game. The Nuggets and the Bulls opened at a pick. Books didn't. I don't think they really knew what to do with this one. Since then, the line has shifted towards Denver, minus 1 point. The total in this one opened at 231, and it's down to 229 and a half, 230 and a half. Shout out to my boy Mitch. We was actually talking about this one last night. I said, Mitch, I think the total's sitting a tad bit too high. The Bulls, they're the third ranked defense. They have the third best defensive rating over the last 5 games. They've played well defensively throughout this season. We know that the Nuggets, they typically function well. I talked about this on Friday when they were playing against Boston. The Nuggets function well as a road dog, right? Like now they're the favorite in this game. They might not function as well. We saw Boston, smack them boys up. Jokic not be the best version of himself and kind of hang people out to dry. And I think I agree with the total coming down. I haven't played this one yet, but I'm probably gonna end up putting that 230 in my pocket. I see a 230 on my book. Down 1 point. I wish I would have got the 231 now. But I think the Nuggets play. I think the Bulls play defense in this one. I think that they have some guys that can slow some of these guys down on the Nuggets. Also, they're just one of the slower paced teams in the league. This team likes walking the ball up the court. And you get the Bulls in their first excuse me, you get the Bulls in their first game of the season where they've had 3 days of rest, right? Most of the time that leads to rust. Instead of the rust actually overpowers the rest, and teams typically come out a little slower. So I think that's even more of a reason why they'll be relying upon their defense to kind of slow this Nuggets offense down. Player prop, though, I am playing this. Haven't put it in yet, but I'm going official with this one. Mr. Zach LaVine, right? Over 22.5 points, minus 120. Zach's the man right now, anyway. And I just like the spot for him. I love the spot for Zach LaVine in this one. Over 22.5 points. He's cleared it two games in a row. As he's kind of settling into the season, coming off that injury, the injury, the maintenance, all that good stuff. He has the second highest usage. They tit for tat 26.5 to 27 with DeMar DeRozan on this team. I think DeRozan probably ends up drawing Aaron Gordon in this one, Denver's best perimeter defender, which to me, even bodes even better because Zach LaVine will probably end up drawing KCP, and I'd rather him have KCP on him than Aaron Gordon, right? More importantly, Zach LaVine, I'm always talking about volume, right? So Zach LaVine is shooting the ball. He shot the ball 22 and 20 times in his previous 2 games. Now you get today you get a Nuggets team that's going to play a lot faster in pace. You get a real fast team in the Nuggets versus a real slow team. So if the Nuggets try to speed the pace up, which the total implies that they will, because the Bulls haven't gone over a total of 231 this season, right? So if you take that to consideration, Zach LaVine's in a really, really good spot. Also, another thing I'm going to look at is how well do the Nuggets typically play when I'm sorry, how well do shooting guards typically play against the Nuggets? So the Nuggets are one of the worst defensive teams in the league when it comes to slowing down shooting guards. They allow the 6th most points to shooting guards so far this season, and we see wings eat the Nuggets up, right? So like Jaylen Brown on Friday had 25 points and on 15 shots. Ben Mathurin had 30 on 17 shots Wednesday. Keldon Johnson had 30 on 20 shots on Monday. Keldon Johnson had 25 on 14 shots last Saturday. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 37 on 17 shots in the game before. So you just keep going back and looking at how they do against shooting guards. They're not doing well at all. Zach LaVine, like I said, coming off 3 days rest, I think that's a benefit for him, and he shouldn't be, too rusty. The Bulls, continuing to be at home, finally getting rested up after they had a like a abysmal schedule spot early in the season, kind of going back and forth between road home. So I'm locking in Zach LaVine over 22.5 points. I love that line a lot. I think it's a 25, potentially a 30-point game for Zach LaVine. We know that they go tick for tack between him and DeRozan. It could be a DeRozan game, but even if it is a DeRozan game, I still like Zach LaVine to be able to get 23 points in this game as well. So that is something that I'm official on. Zach LaVine over 22.5 points. Joey said the damn Jazz, man. I'm done, Chris. Yeah, Joey, they function better today though, bro. I'm not taking them. I'm just letting people know, because what I looked at was the Jazz as away favorites. They're 0-1. That game happened against the Rockets. But then if you look at them as away dogs, they're 6-1, ATS and straight up. So yeah, I think Ski said thinking first quarter over. What about the rust factor though, Ski? You think I don't know what the total's sitting at for the first quarter. It's probably 59.5 if I had to guess. Vaughn said he likes Zach LaVine today too. Let's go, Vaughn. I'm on Zach today. I like Zach a lot. Markel said I'm looking to take DeRozan. It could be a DeRozan game. I like Zach though. I like Zach based off the volume. Really like Zach a lot tonight, man. It's probably gonna be a 1-unit play for me as well. Yeah, Joey, what I was saying with the Jazz, 6-1 straight up and ATS as an away dog. The problem is we don't have a sample size at all for the Jazz as away dogs with no rest, right? This will be the first time they're actually away dogs with no rest. They played, I wouldn't say they played hard, but they played deep into that game yesterday. And I think Vanderbilt came up on the injury report as questionable for today as well. So I think he ended up going to the locker room yesterday. Was trying to flip back and forth between that game. And then let's see, I really don't. So Warriors and the Kings, I don't got much on this game. The Warriors' first road game, which, ain't too far up the street in Sacramento. In quite some time, the spread opened at 4. They were laying 4 on the road against the Kings, and the Kings probably, they beat the Lakers, but they struggled in that spot. Now they come back home, so it's not like they went far either from crypto.com back to their arena in Sacramento. And you see the spread come down. So some money's come in on the Kings. They opened at 4-point home dogs. They comes down to 3.5. This total, I feel like, is sitting a little too high as well. Just because we saw the Warriors play defense, man. I talked about it the other day. I was scared to take the under in the Warriors and the Cavaliers game, but that game flew under. The total opened at 230, and they barely got to 200. Steve Kerr emphasized, that this team, when they had a 2-day break last week, he emphasized defense. And I think, they did a really good job of playing defense against the Cavs. We saw them step up, and I don't know if they've turned, that proverbial hand of time, but I do think that this total is a tad bit too high. The Kings also can play defense, especially when you get them in a motivated spot. I think that they're motivated because they probably felt like they should have won that game, at least went to overtime with Kevin Huerter getting fouled by Klay Thompson the other day. So I'm pretty sure they got that, that bad taste in their mouth, and they probably want to come out here and prove to the Warriors that they can beat them too. Don't know what the motivation spot is for the Warriors, because Steph Curry is a bad boy, and it's just really hard to not like Steph on any given night, especially when you see the spread being close. I don't think the Kings get whopped in this game. I think they keep it close at least. So Steph props, dudes averaging like 33 points. Point prop keep coming out at 27, 28.5. And then De'Aaron Fox on the other end too. They still don't have a defender that can guard De'Aaron Fox. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot, especially back at the crib. And then, I'm 25 minutes in, man. Nets and the Lakers, under. Total opened at 224. Is down to 222.5. We know this Lakers team can't score. Nets games 7 in a row have went under at this point. And Bron is already listed as doubtful. AD is listed as probable, and Seth is uncertain because he did play yesterday and played big yesterday. Seth has looked good since he came back from that injury, man. And we know how well guards can do against the Lakers. So that's why I'll be looking in that one. But I don't want to go too much time over the 25-minute mark. Let me get to some of the comments real quick, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Yep, I was about to say back-to-back might make a difference. Both teams on back-to-back. Yeah, Joe, I looked at that too. I looked at how the Philadelphia 76ers did on the second night of a back-to-back too. And I feel like I legit just need to watch them more, man. I need to watch them, especially since they don't have Harden. I know what it looked like last year, but I'm interested to see what the difference is. I really just haven't had a chance to watch the Sixers play too much. Vaughn said, like the Kings tonight, money line. Okay. Brian said, about to take Knicks first half again. It cashed the other night. They're going to keep rolling. I can see that. What up, Ball Hawk? My guy. What up, fam? Tiffany said, Nets taking this win. The Nets probably going to beat my Lakers, man. We look so bad. And we don't function well without LeBron. But we do play hard, which is why I like the under. I think 224 points is too much. Especially when you get this Knicks team, they're not even allowing. I'm sorry, the Nets team, they're not even allowing good teams to score 105, 110 points. So I know that the Lakers shouldn't be able to get there. And if you don't want to take the total for the full game because you think the Lakers defense might revert back to not playing well, you could just look at the Lakers team total under. If it's a 3-point spread and the total is 224, then what does that tell you? What 115 to 112 is what they saying. 15, 12, something along those lines. The Lakers probably won't score 100 points in this game. And if they do, it won't be much over. So I do think you could look at that, individually. But let's cash though, man. I'll probably do a show a little bit later, probably like around 12 Eastern time. So people can, pop in. But I do think, like I said, Sundays are weird. And then you also just want to get all your injury report news. And for some of these later games, we're not going to necessarily know. Bron's listed as doubtful right now. He could be upgraded to questionable and then end up actually playing. So, and that's a late game too. That's a 9:40 start time, Eastern start time. Even with the Kings and the Warriors, that's a 9:10 start time. So NBA games don't start as early today, minus the OKC and the Knicks game that starts at 12:10. So that's what I got for you guys, man. Joey said down to 220 now. It's getting steam. Yeah, that total. I would have hopped on that one if you liked it. Lakers team total under. You can look at Nets first quarter. They've been killing the first quarter, especially on this road trip. I don't think that they've lost the first quarter yet. I think since Kyrie in a 5-game sample size without Kyrie, I think they're 5-0 in the first quarter ATS. And the Lakers, we know that they don't typically cover the first quarter. They picked up their first win the other day, second win the other day. In the first quarter, but there's something like 2-8, 2-9, not covering the first quarter. So that's what I got for you guys, man. Best of luck on your action today. Tap back in with me later. Like I said, I'll probably do a spaces around 12 before NFL starts, and we'll shake through some things. But officially, I am on Zach LaVine to go over his 22.5 points. Haven't placed it yet, but that's the ticket I'm putting in. And then everything else is going to be kind of a light day for me, man. I'll probably just be a watch day for me because Sundays are uncertain. Sundays are weird. Sundays are janky. There's a lot of parity going on in the NBA, and I'm not trying to lose money. I'm not trying to have plays given out where you guys are losing money as well. So that's what I'm on, man. Give me Zach LaVine over the 22.5 points. Best of luck as always, and I always like to end the show the same way, man. None of this is financial consultation. This is logic, it's theory, it's SDL, it's queries, it's a lot of things that are also uncertain at times as well. But we're gonna pick up the steam. We'll get going. Bet with your head, not over it. Best of luck today to you guys, and I'm out.